Hello, friends. My name is Claire, and I am going to be doing a base game home I built in The Sims 4, specifically in the world of Newcrest. So, if you're not familiar with The Sims, the world of Newcrest is just a bunch of empty lots, and it's great for newer players who want to have a better houses or have more free flow of where their community lots are, where their houses are. This is built on the smaller lots on the upper right of the world, and so we are just going to be starting off in the living room for this house. This is a house that I try to build in a traditional style, and so we are just going to be figuring out the arrangement of the couches. I feel like this was a pretty fluid flow of the couches, easy to get out of and in of. I did try to make this very cozy, tried to have this be like something normally you would live in, not so much like a magazine house. And so we're just going to be adding a desk and going to be adding a computer. I try to mostly build family homes on my channel, and so I know families have different rules with computers, and so I try to do a good mix of putting the computer in an office space, and then for this house I try to put the computer in more of like an open area for the parents to kind of make sure their kids are not going onto websites they shouldn't be going onto. And so we do make a little bit of a kid zone over here by the front of the house. There isn't really a playroom type of area, and so I felt like having a little area right here for the kids to play. They're close to the kitchen when it's time for dinner, although the dining room is in this area. And so we are just going to be adding some pictures and going to be adding a little drop zone chair. I love doing drop zones and entryways, so just adding a little chair and coat rack, and I just feel like that's realistic. I know your Sims don't need to have a seat to take off their shoes, but I know I do, and so it just kind of brings it realistic to me. And so we're just going to be adding a little collage wall above the dollhouse, although I do end up getting rid of the dollhouse and make room for the computer and desk to go over there, because I realized there wasn't really a spot for your Sims to dine at, and I know that is something I commonly forget to add in a house like this, and so I really wanted to make sure I added that this time. And now we're just going to be adding some more pictures and going to just kind of be analyzing the space, figuring out what else I should add or change. And this is when I realized, oh, I should probably add a dining room into this space. And so I just kind of make the collage a little bit smaller to fit more of that area space now that there is a desk. And now we're going to be adding a little dining room. I did try to keep the colors of this space pretty consistent with the rugs and with the chairs, although the green chairs are pretty much a pop of green color. I didn't want it to be too matchy, but I didn't want it to be bland either, so that is something easy to change if you want to play in this house. All the information is down in the description, and so we are just going to be adding a plant on this picture shelf. I was imagining that that would be grandparents or parents to this family. And now we're just going to be adding a bookshelf. And I wanted to make sure the bookshelf I added, you could kind of still see some light come through. I know that doesn't really matter too much, but it just, since it's blocking a window, I wanted to make sure that you could still somewhat see through the window. So now we are in the kitchen. And this kitchen's just very long and skinny, and so it was a little bit of a challenge to figure out how it would all work out because if you see kitchens in real life, you would see that there's kind of like a triangle between the refrigerator, the stove, and the sink, and all of those appliances are on the same wall. So that's a little bit tricky, not too realistic, maybe in that standpoint, but we do also have a microwave and a little dining seating area in here. Maybe it's kind of more of a breakfast nook. So we are just going to be adding some decorations and just making this area feel lived in, like the living room. And so we are just going to be adding a rug into the kitchen, and I feel like I just needed a little bit of rug, a little bit of a rug to break up this space, break up the hardwood. And here's that little dining area. It's kind of more like a breakfast, like for have the kids eat their cereal before breakfast. And I honestly didn't really know what else to put in this kitchen since it's kind of narrow, and I feel like having a dining area was pretty useful. And so now we are in the half bath on the first level. So there's one bathroom down here, and then there's two bathrooms on the second level. This is a three-bedroom, three-bathroom home, and so we are just going to be making this bathroom pretty simple. I didn't add too much into this room just because it's just a very 2 by 2 room and very square. So we are just going to be moving on into the backyard, I'm pretty sure. Oh, I do want to add a bunny somewhere. I do try to add a bunny in every build, but that bunny statue didn't really work out. But I do add a bunny, so keep your eyes out. It might be easier to see it during screenshots. So now we are in the backyard, and I just have a little like outdoor dining space, some gardening boxes, and some monkey bars for the kids. And so we are just going to be changing the tables. I just wasn't a fan of that original color of chairs, so I do add a rug out here because I wanted it to like not be hot for your Sims. I know your Sims can't really like get burnt feet from concrete, but I just kind of helped tie the space together, and so I enjoyed doing that. So we are just going to be making this playground equipment look really loved, or I guess maybe not playground equipment, but the monkey bars look really loved, and so now we are just going to be adding some salt and pepper shakers out here. I was imagining since our house is very small that they would have a lot of outdoor dinners, and since this house doesn't use the season pack, you can dine out here anytime you want. You don't have to worry about a winter's storm or a heat wave. So we are now on the second floor of the house, and we're just quickly going to be just adding a small little art piece on to the walls and going to be just trying to figure out like some like things on the walls to make it not look empty. But now we are in the first bedroom, which is for a child. I did design it kind of more in mind for a boy child, but you can obviously have whoever you want in this space. Just some of the things I picked out were a little bit more youthful, I guess you could say. So we are just going to be adding this bed, and this bed was originally from the Parenthood pack, but now it is in the base game, so I really appreciate that since this is a base game build. And so we are just going to be adding some decorations on to the side table, and going to now be adding a desk. And there wasn't really like a consistent color scheme for this room. I feel like the second kid's room has a little bit more of a consistent color scheme, and so we're just going to be adding some posters and some other items just to kind of fill in the space. I was kind of imagining that these families kind of like outgrown this space, but they're still kind of making it work with what they got. And so we are just going to be adding some items onto the desk. And I did play test this room, and you can sleep and sit on the desk. And so we are going to be adding some posters and going to be trying to find a lot of base game posters. You can see that in this room, I kept like going back and forth, like, okay, does that wall look good? But wait, that wall also has the same piece of art. So do like how Base Game added more swatches to some of these posters. That was really helpful, especially with like the book poster. Like, okay, that makes sense. Like that, like there's like different volumes, and each volume has a different character. So we are just going to be going into the second bedroom, which I was imagining would be for a child girl. So this room was a little bit easier because I wanted it to very much be the same as the first bedroom. I was imagining that they'd be twins, and so it just kind of made sense to have like similar items. And obviously the parents probably would have gotten these beds at the same time. And so we are just going to be adding some bunnies. And so I guess you will be seeing them in this video. You don't have to watch the screenshots, but if you want to, kind of get like a first person perspective of this house, you totally can. So we're just going to be adding some more posters into this room. I kind of made the story of like both of these Sims have an interest in soccer, and so they just kind of like soccer references in each of the rooms. And so we are just going to be adding some pictures, kind of not really like kid related pictures, but I feel like it did look good in this space. And so we are just going to be adding a soccer ball lamp into each room. And I do also play test this room, and I feel like all of the furniture pieces worked out how I have them, and there's like no interference with the dollhouse. And I do also add a little stuffed animal on to the end of the bed. So we do kind of go with a pink floral theme in this room with the bed and with the rug. So we're just going to be adding some decorations on to the desk. I tried to make it similar to the first desk, but I didn't want to make it a carbon copy, obviously. And so we are just going to be now going into the bathroom. But I did want the bedrooms to like feel the same, but obviously different. One is long and one is more like wide, even though they do have the same amount of space. It's just kind of like the way it is laid out. And so we are in the bathroom that these two kids would share together. And so I feel like this is just kind of my normal bathroom I do in every house, but I did make the primary bathroom. They were currently in the primary bedroom, but I tried to make the primary bedroom just a little bit bigger, a little bit more spacious, even though this is a small home. I was originally planning on doing a tiny house, but I couldn't really like get any inspiration, and I feel like everything online, it's like very like a lot of levels to it. And so that's why I decided to go with a house like this, where it's just very simple. And so we are going to be adding some curtains. I do add an extra curtain on a spot where there's not a window, but I just needed to have that like balance. And so we are going to be adding some like curtains, but I was just trying to like figure out exactly how I wanted this space to lay out. I do like how like when you walk in you like see the bed, and so we are going to be adding some decorations onto the dresser and going to be just kind of making sure I've like haven't used too many of the same pictures. I feel like that's the hard part about doing a only base game build, is like there's not like that many pictures, and if you're going with a specific style, it's like kind of hard to not use the same picture twice. So we are just in the bathroom for room, and this is the final space for the house. So if you enjoyed watching this video, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button down below. And if you have any build suggestions for me, please leave them down in the comments. I always need suggestions, and so if you enjoyed watching, I post new videos every single Tuesday, so I hope to see you all next week for another Sims 4 video. Bye. I hope you all have a good week.